You've probably already made one. A picture of a room you want, you typed in a few words into an AI tool and something beautiful came back. And if you're like most people, you sat with it for a second, maybe a little bit in love with it, maybe a little bit unsure. And the question sitting underneath all of that beautiful image is hard to answer. Could this actually be built in my home? That question is what this whole video is about. AI in design. And here's the part that most people don't expect a designer to say, but I personally love AI. I use it every single day to run my firm. And I guess I might be further along than most designers you came across. So when I'm talking about this video, it's not coming from someone who's nervous about new technology and tells you to keep away. It's the opposite. I'm Ariana Adireh Anderson, founder of ARIID Group, design and build firm. I draw these homes and then we build them. This is exactly why I can talk about this in confidence. I get to see both sides, the beautiful versions on the screen and everything it takes to make something into a reality, to get it built. Now, how I actually use AI. So let me start where most people won't expect, with all the ways I learned to use AI every day. Most of it, you might not see it on the front end. It lives in the back of our work, taking that slow, repetitive part of doing design work out of from our plate. The organization of files, entering data, sorting, labeling, that used to swallow whole afternoons. Now AI can do it in a fraction of the time. So then our team can spend their hours actually creating beautiful designs. We also lean into AI for some quick math. For example, taking a square footage and figuring out how much things we can fit into that square footage. Or here's another example. When we want to calculate how many pairs of shoes we can fit into a closet in this specific area, it comes in really handy. Some of these tools already exist in the programs, and so they're woven into the tools we work, and some of them are just AI agents that we use. So one more place AI really earns its keep, and that's renderings. So when we have a rendering and we're weighing options, we used to explore variations. For example, we want to see a cabinet in a different color, or maybe how does this room will look if the floor is a little bit warmer. The directions that we can lay side by side and really decide what is going to be best before we even present it to our clients. Now, here is where I want to like draw a line. In a way, we do not generate pictures out of thin air using AI and then try to build from it. This is the thing that people assume AI can do. And this one, it's not there yet. That's exactly what I want to talk to you about next. The kind of AI design tools and what they're used for. Before we get into it, I just want to clarify what we're talking about. AI tools, it sounds like, it's one thing, but actually it's a handful of different things. And each of them have a different part and they do different things. The first one is the one that builds a room from just typing or saying a few words. You describe what you want and it generates image out of nothing. It might be a wonderful tool to create a mood or to convey your ideas, but it has no idea what your actual house looks like. So what it hands you is a feeling, not your space. Now, the second type of AI program out there is the one that you can upload a photo of your real space and restyle it. Maybe you can say, hey, I want new cabinets. Give me a different paint, new furniture. This is one of the most convincing and the most misleading since it looks like at home. So it could actually change things. It can start changing, sliding a window over a little bit, maybe raising the ceiling, erasing a wall. And since the rest of the picture looks real, you might miss that and believe it. Now, another tool is virtual staging, which fills an empty room with furniture. Really the straightforward of the bunch. There's a reason why so many real estate agents use this tool. Now you have a home that looks furnished. I think this is a great tool. And there's another kind that turns a flat floor plan into a 3D view, which is the closest to the reality since it actually starts from measurements. Now here's a pattern that's worth looking and holding onto. The tools that make the most beautiful image a lot of times have the least to do with your real home. And the ones that might have dimensions might not be as pretty as you might expect that an AI can generate. Now, please note, none of them, not a single one of them, can hand you a finished floor plan, furnished floor plan that you can actually go and build from. So the question is, so where does it actually earn its place? I would say it will be great and the best in early stage of your project, right in the beginning, when you are researching for that feeling or trying to figure out what you want for your home, but you can't quite name it. Maybe you're trying to create something that's warm or calm or open. A handful of generated or modified images could get you there a little bit faster. And that's really a real gift here. Now, where does AI fail? And this is where things go wrong. The biggest of them all is scale. The image might look right. The furniture on the picture looks like it could fit. But when you start measuring the room, the whole thing falls apart. The island could look stunning in that photo, but it might be too big for the actual space that you have. And once you start looking for those, you start seeing those AI flaws everywhere. A sofa might be floating a few inches off the floor. Maybe the doorway feels like it's too short because your ceiling were raised, or you have a big oversized sofa, but it will never fit into your space. And there's really no room even to walk around it. So the tools are extraordinary in generating beautiful images, but they are illustration, but not exactly for real dimension space. The second one is material. So this one hits close to home. AI might have a beautiful quartz or marble image, but it cannot really tell you how exact veining of that slab will be and where you can buy it. That finish, or a finish that might be ruined by cutting a lemon on it because it's the wrong material for the space. Or how will a stone feel underneath your hand? How will the material shift with light changes from evening to morning? These things you cannot see in a picture. And these things you have to know by being engaged with a physical material. And the third one is that AI does not understand construction. It will happily show you a wall that can be just removed, but maybe that is a load-bearing wall that's holding your whole house. It might move plumbing to interior wall that does not have the depth for the plumbing fixture. It cannot produce real plans. It has no idea what the walls or what behind the walls are. I had clients fall in love with a rendering. They send it to me super excited. Like, hey, I love this. Can we do this? And then I have to be the one telling them as kind, in a kindest way I can possibly can, that rendering simply cannot be built in their space. And that gap between AI renderings and the reality is the whole reason I'm putting this video together. So let me give you something you can actually use it for. A way to look at AI in a rendering before you fall in love with it, and to know if it's even a feasible idea or just a beautiful illustration. Start by measuring against your real room. Now, put a real dimension right next to an AI-generated floor plan. If you're looking at an AI-generated floor plan, look at clearances. Look at rooms around things. Can a person actually walk around it? Can a person walk around an island? Is there enough room for a door swing? Can there be drawers where it's drawn? And can a dishwasher open? AI misses these things and might even leave them out. The next one would be structural. If that wall is gone or that window is in a different wall, is the house structurally sound? Now, if you don't know whether these changes can hold up to your home if you're remodeling, then ask a professional, not a prompt. Now, finally, there's plumbing. Anything you move, plumbing, window, door, those are never free. If a rendering has your sink shifted across the room, someone has to pay for it. Or it will simply not happen. It needs to be accounted for. Run this rendering through 4 major criteria: scale, clearance, structure, and the things that you cannot move. And you will know if this rendering that you have or a floor plan can actually be built. Looking at those things, you will know if this is something that can be explored and have a further conversation, or is it just a mood board? Maybe a beautiful one, but a mood board. Now, what AI will never replace is what brings me to a second part that I feel strongly about. No matter how good the images will get over time, it will not replace your judgment of the knowledge and the building as it stands. And it will not have that knowledge of how the light will come through, or how will this material wear over time, and how will it age? How will a light shift, and how will it change the things that are in the room? How will a sample in a perfect showroom will look in your home? How will it look in a north-facing room in January? These types of things cannot be typed into AI. It won't replace what happens between the designer and the person that we're designing it for. It's taking someone's life and turning it into a beautiful experience of a space. Now, that takes time. That takes understanding materials, the person, and what is being presented. And what it won't replace is knowing what can actually be built. Every good design lives in that gap between a picture and what can physically hold up. And living comfortably in that gap takes time in both design and construction. If you're planning a project, here's how to use AI. So if you're planning something on your own, and here's a few actual tips that you can put AI to work. Use it for a feeling, never for a floor plan. Generate images until you get that mood. Maybe it's that warmth, maybe it's that color. Now, you can bring these things to your design team, and that will be a great starting point, not a blueprint, but you are coming in with things that you want. Before you start falling for a rendering, ask one simple question. Can this actually be built in my house? These walls, the ceiling, the windows, the plumbing. If you're not sure, then that's worth having a conversation with someone who can actually give you answers. Using the AI that way doesn't replace your design team at all, but it makes a better starting point, a stronger beginning for your project, which in return will make the end result so much better. Now, I have to say this one more time, since I'm as pro AI as anyone in this field, every single day, I am telling you exactly where it stops working as someone who wants you to use it as well, not someone who's afraid of it. In my next video, I am going to talk and walk you through 10 things that you need to know before you hire a designer, the decisions that you need to do and need to happen before your first meeting. So if you found this helpful, please click subscribe so you do not miss the next episode, and I will see you there.